Available now on Pro Wrestling Tees. 3 brand new Mack Attack t-shirts, the Mackcast, Tag Team Adventures, and the Training School, only at ProWrestlingTees.com/Mackcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, currently broadcasting, accompanied by trainee number 1 from France. He is Monster Mack.
Holy freaking crap, everybody! And welcome to another edition of the Mackcast, episode number
51.
51.
I was leaning down to grab the microphone wire and you screamed.
You said to get things started, so we had to get it done.
Holy crap.
Episode 51, can you believe it? We're still on the air.
It's not the air anymore. You talk like you were in like 1990s public access stuff. Like we're still on the air, kids. We're over the satellites.
But people are still downloading, right?
That's for sure. We're still being downloaded. Yeah.
Yeah, no one kicked us off the internets yet. So
You're going to blame Obama's going to kick us off the internet?
Hopefully he stays president for another 8 years, baby. And we're still on.
I don't think... I know you're not from here, but I don't think that's how that works. You don't just get to just stay on.
No, the Hillary thing and what's the other guy's name?
Trump,
they're going to have a schmoz. It's going to be a big thing, and then they're going to keep the same president.
Yeah, you think
that's legit, brother. You got to read your internets.
Heard it here first on the Mackcast.
And if you didn't check out episode 50, it was an awesome one, wasn't it, Trainee?
Episode 50 was one of our best guests ever, a great episode. And, you guys should just go back and listen to it, because it was with, that guy.
Without hyperbole, that was probably the best Mackcast I've ever heard.
Well, thank you.
Remember when he said them things? Remember that?
The things. Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, that was great.
So, yeah, episode 50 on the Mackcast, folks. Make sure you check it out. But tonight, on episode 51, Mac, who do we got in the house? You're doing the intro tonight, since you scared me.
I'm doing the intro. I'll see if I can remember these guys' names. So,
this better be good.
To the guy you just heard on the microphone, Mike Pavia in the house, baby.
The original show off.
The original show off before Dolph Ziggler. That's right.
Yeah,
the original show off.
And then we got my brother from another mother. I really feel like we could have been friends, but you live so far away.
Yeah.
Lumberjake in the house.
Yeah, the Lumber Mac.
The Lumber Mac. I like it.
That happened once, right?
No, we never got to do that.
Oh, that we just hung out after the wrestling
Yeah.
show. Talked about it.
After the show, before the show, during the show,
And then on the left, to the left of him, wearing black and a white bird shirt, it's JC Marxx. I got it, right? All right.
What's the podcast? What's the podcast name that they do you know?
Did he just add his own special effects to his announcement?
Listen, that's what you get when you invite us onto the show.
Yeah, this is great.
High quality production work right here.
Nobody has come in with their own songs.
I liked it. Before I say another word, though, I got a bone to pick.
With who?
And I kept it on the download until we were on the air, but it's with you, JC.
Oh!
That's right.
All right.
Because you had a bone to pick off the air with me. I forgot what it was about. What was it about?
I don't even remember either, but we can pick that bone also on the air.
Let's
pick all these
right
bones.
Now, we did an NCW show, and things didn't really go my way because of a certain wrestler you guys had on the pod. He was kind of a douchebag.
All right. That's had past tense.
Okay.
A major douche.
And that's not my beef, because that had nothing to do with you.
The douchebag, was he wearing a douchebag underneath his skirt? Was that was that what he was? No, I'm just, a lot of guys wear skirts. It could be anybody.
Yeah.
Of the two dudes.
But
Let's just say it. Let's just say it.
I was going on the internet.
Okay.
I was on the internet talking
right.
to the ladies and stuff like that. And one of them told me, like, yo, dude, there's this Botchamania, NTW Botchamania video up on the internet that is starring Monster Mac. So before we go any further with this Mackcast, I'm going to ask you to take it offline.
You just want it deleted from the internet.
It has to be deleted. It only has 15 views anyways, so no one's going to miss it. Take it offline.
Let me answer that.
Do you have the power to do that?
No.
Lumberjake doesn't have. Pavia, you got the power to do that?
No.
What about you, JC Marxx?
Well, you already said 15 views. It's the most watched video NCW's ever had online. I don't think that would be right to take it down. And, I mean, It's weird because you're not the first person this weekend that's asked to be deleted from NCW history. So like that's impressive. Like,
I say you can leave it up. I don't give a damn. I think it's funny.
And
did you actually watch it? Because
I've seen
the
it.
Benny Hill music really kind of makes
It really kind of, yeah, I'm in, dog.
And just so you know, the first person to get the Benny Hill treatment was me. It was a tag team match. It was me and Big Adam taking on Robbie the Giant and Kevin Cordero.
Oh, it had nothing to do with me in the video. I was just featured in the video.
And
It
you
was
didn't-
Trainee over here that I'm trying to stick up
yeah,
for.
he's
His waist lock's way too tight in that video. Way too tight.
My waist locks were too tight, brother, and he had work in the morning. He had
Yeah.
no interest.
I heard you were very stiff.
Yeah,
and,
I know, dude. I'm just the worst out there.
Okay, so now that we're past that, we can
Hold
continue
on.
on.
Can
with
you
the
actually
match
tell
out.
the story of what happened? Because we've heard one side of the story. We haven't heard your side of the story.
I was featured in that video. That was all.
No, what happened that night?
Man, what happened that night?
It was. Let me set the scene. Sicily, 1919.
Yes. A dark fog rolled into town at Norwood.
It was Norwood. It was.
Was it Norwood? I was just guessing.
It was
All right,
Norwood,
all right.
and Fatal 4-Way, or it was a tag team, and
Four
four
teams.
team in every corner. It was destined to be awful. Don't worry. No matter what you did, that was going to be on the
Right.
botch. It was going to happen. But
Now
okay.
it started off with you guys said that you had our music ready to go. I'm a player from Tech 9.
No,
We
we had
showed up.
we had Rock Me Amadeus.
You guys had Rock Me Amadeus for us.
We
It's not 1988.
we thought you guys were Aaron Amadeus.
Oh man, that was the first mistake. The mojo was all messed up. I tried coming up. I'm like, I'm a player. What the hell's Amadeus? What the hell's he saying?
This guy's yelling in a different language. Ooska, rock me Amadeus. That's the only part that's in English is rock me Amadeus.
If you didn't know, German and French are actually the same language.
Real close. Yeah. I could kind of understand what was going on. But he was not talking about hitting the dubs and the rolling on jubs and all that Tech 9 stuff. You know what I mean? I don't know what rolling on a jub is, but, you know, Tech 9 does it.
You never rolled on a jump, dude? You gotta try that sometime. It's good stuff, man.
But what happened was, when I introduced myself to said Doug Summers, whose name
There we go.
because I don't give a shit.
allegedly.
Allegedly, Doug
in order
Summers.
to in order to keep anonymity, it's SOMMERS.
Yeah, Sommers.
Pretty boy Doug Sommers.
From
AWA fame.
I was gonna say from the AWA. No,
He's got heat with him, by the way.
shocker. You know what I mean? That a douchebag would have heat with somebody.
The sad part was I always thought he was a cool guy. You know what I mean? He made that one pie joke, pie in the face, womp womp womp. I remember that shit forever.
Yeah, dude.
I'm sure you sold that joke many a times. It was one of his best.
I've never seen him do that.
Oh yeah, that was like an old Slam Tech training that we went to, and he made the pie joke, and we were like, "That's pretty funny, dog. Like, that's not bad."
He is a funny guy.
Yeah. And then we did that show, and Masamak hit him with an errant clothesline in the face, and he tried schooling us backstage, and he yelled at me, and I was like, "Homie, get out of here!" And then he went and yelled at Masamak in front of everyone, which was
3 times. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the first 2 wasn't enough.
he's like, "You hit me in the face with that clothesline, brother. I got work in the morning," which is like, you know, who doesn't have work in the morning?
Me.
Yeah, Jake's been unemployed for a decade.
yeah.
Because you cut your wood at night, right? That's it.
He's like, he can cut
That's
wood
just
anytime
code
he
for
wants.
masturbation.
Right, yeah, he's chopping that wood away, dog, all day long.
Can you edit that out?
Yeah, sorry. Hold on. Take a shot, everybody. He just whinered us.
Stop your whining.
Yeah, you're whinering. Quit your whine. Stop whining.
What I'll say about Doug is that
Dig it, Doug.
dig it, Doug. He's a complicated fellow. He was one of my closest friends forever.
Million years.
Yeah, you know.
I don't even think he remembers it, but I traveled to a show with him called Instanstranium Smashdown or some crazy ass name, and it was like him, Paul Lombardi, and me. Like I went to film the show. It was when I was like,
right.
a little younger and stuff. And you know, he wore a dress and tagged Lombardi. They wrestled like Don Vega and I don't know, somebody else or whatever. But you know, and then we met him at Slam Tech, and then he was such a douchebag.
Yeah, I mean,
Turns out.
I think there's many sides to Doug, and I mean, for years he was one of my closest friends, and I'm really kind of sad to see kind of what he's become, kind of
Who he is as a
like, you
person.
know, well, I mean, I guess he has more differences with people than I realized, and I wish things could have been different, but some people you just can't change. And
Yeah, no, true that, dude. And like, I don't know, man. Like I was, I don't think I've got many sides of our personality, like everybody does. But I don't think if somebody hit me in the face with a clothesline, I'd be in the backstage like, "Who are you trained by? What have you ever done? I see you guys booked all the time. Why aren't you better than that?" And it's like, dude, you got hit with a clothesline. Shut the fuck up.
Shit happens.
Right? It happens.
I think especially as a guy that's training people, you should be more perceptive with how you're coaching people,
right,
and how you're presenting that feedback.
And there's a better way to do it too. Pull them aside,
right, one-on-one,
talk
of thing,
to them,
scream at
not
in front of the locker room,
in front of the boys.
Right.
Pushing someone down doesn't help anyone. It just makes the person that you're telling angry and just completely shut down what's being said to you.
The fact that we've had matches with 3/4 of the guys that were also in that locker room that night. I wanted to be like, "Hey, Kellen, did you ever get hurt? Hey, AG, have you ever gotten hurt? Hey," you know what I mean? I just point at everybody like, "Oh, no, you haven't? Okay, maybe it's not us. That's the problem, douchebag."
And then the man went to work in the morning, and then after he got work, he uploaded that video to the internet, and you, JC, you added that Benny Hill music. I know it.
Guilty as charged.
Yeah, I told you.
I know you were right, dude. You were right.
I
$12.
am a son of a bitch.
Right. But it's funny, so it's okay.
Yeah. I'm a funny son of a bitch.
As long as things are funny, to me, it's always just kind of okay.
I'm with you because, not to call you out on anything here, Trainee, but I did see over the last couple of months you got into a Facebook argument.
The comment thread with Frank the Crank? The comment thread with Frank the Crank,
yes,
right?
Yes. And I'm with you because I am of the mind that everything is funny.
It has to be.
You have to have a sense of humor with everything, even in the darkest times and the darkest days. You kind of have to throw a joke at it because if you don't, then the world has defeated you.
Right. Like the way I look at it, man, especially at this point in time in the world, they're enthusiasts about everything. If you make a joke about ducks, there are some duck folks that are out there that have platypus.
Wet lives
Kevin
matter.
Smith in Dogma, right, makes a joke about platypus and has to apologize to the platypus enthusiasts because that's fucking real. Like there are really people out there that were probably offended by that.
It's funny until it hits too close to home.
Right, and then
it's personal. Then it's not okay. You can't joke about that because I felt that personally in my life. Listen, everything can be funny.
Right.
Everything can be funny.
And rape's not funny unless it happens to a guy. Then waka waka.
Yeah, everybody's cracking jokes. I've seen people Daniel Tosh make jokes about rapes all the time. You know what I mean?
But I mean, seriously though, male rape is really funny.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Like
we on the Maccast do not condone male rape or the humor found in it.
Those of us on the three-way theater, we might.
not the three-way theater.
No. The three-way theater condones it. Three-way theater does not. Right. The three-way theater is it's the porn rating podcast. Yeah.
Oh, those fucks.
Yeah, right?
What a great name that they stole from you guys. Yeah, they stole it. Yeah.
I'm really used to my name being stolen, so it's okay.
So, speaking of three-way theater, guys, all right, let's talk about it a little bit. How did that come about? You guys sit down, you review wrestling-themed movies, which we have one playing right now in the background, which is, I guess you guys are going to be covering next?
Pro Wrestlers versus Zombies, yeah.
Well, I'll be covering that next.
You're covering it next, okay.
We'll
all three of you are going to be going...
all of us.
Oh, all of us. We're all covering it.
Yeah,
Oh,
this
okay.
is when
We are in. We are in.
Right now, we're guests on the Mattcast,
Right.
and then you
We're
will
gonna
be
come
guests
down.
on Three-Way Theater.
It's just Mattcast, not the
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Three-Way Theater. We got Roddy Piper. He's riding on a bus right now.
It's just three-way theater.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, not right now?
No, not now.
Even the three-way.
It's just Three-Way Theater.
Common misconception, and it's caused a lot of issues. The Three-Way Theater actually has like 40,000 views, unfortunately.
We're moving close on that 40,000,
Dude,
son.
you guys, I am so impressed. 28,000 downloads.
Well, we're actually hoping that you will rub off on us and we can get some of your views.
It's cool, man.
Whoa, if anyone's rubbing off on anyone, it's our guests rubbing off on us. That's the hits.
Well, then get to rubbing, gentlemen.
That being said, you are actively losing listeners right now.
Where's Don Baker? Where is he?
But no, I don't even. We haven't even done one. I'm down. I'll do one. I think the lowest podcast we've ever done was I'm gonna say Eric Dillon, even though it's not true.
I heard the lowest downloaded podcast was Sean Leader.
Well, it hasn't even happened.
Exactly.
And it probably won't happen. Sorry, Sean Leader. I guess Max said he didn't want to hang out with him, and if that's the case,
he actually listens to this, so he's listening right now.
he's
So
pissed.
JC Marxx means no offense to you, Sean Leader.
We're gonna piss a lot of people off today.
Oh, great.
me.
Can
You know, it
someone
wasn't-
hand me a French wine in a bottle before?
A French wine light in a bottle.
You know, it wasn't the lowest rated. Number 50. That was amazing.
Oh, that was some high ratings right
Those-
there.
oh, man,
Can you believe the guest we got?
that
I
guest
can't.
was huge. I can't believe you got.
That
Like
guy.
what a huge.
We're gonna take the from the app.
Yeah.
podcast
Just
and add you,
just
and
pause that and then.
We're gonna hit you up and then we'll get your info. So you
Yeah.
can say whatever.
Yeah.
name. We'll edit that in there.
Theater, Jake.
Yeah, let us know what's going on with you guys and your own dabbles in the dabble.
Well, Three-Way Theater is our podcast. Me, Mike Pavia, and JC Marxx. We review wrestling movies, and we originally were thinking bad wrestling movies, but we actually you'd think so. You'd think so, but we've ended up
Besides Ready to
enjoying.
Rumble, of course. That one's
That was our
You guys watched the one with Zachary Taylor Thompson?
Slam,
right? Slam.
Yes.
That's the back bar brawl wrestling.
Yes,
right?
sir.
Oh, I
It
remember
certainly
watching that
was.
movie back in the day.
all-star cast. It had Zeus in it.
Zeus?
It had everyone.
I feel like every movie has Zeus in it.
Yeah, right?
That has anything to
Movie
do with
should have.
Yeah.
Right,
Zeus in it.
exactly. dude.
Tiny Lister is
The man.
Yes, he's the modern day Meryl Streep.
Meryl Streep's still alive.
And is Tiny Lister's career still alive?
Shooting. Tiny Lister listens to this podcast, and he is gonna be pissed. He's coming for you, Lumberjake.
Tiny Lister.
I can't believe you got Tiny Lister as number 50 on the
Yeah,
podcast.
I know. That's not true, folks. Whatever.
Yeah, so we just have a lot of fun with this podcast. We hang out a lot together, the three of us, and we just figured we thought we were funny, so we said, hey, let's do a podcast.
Well, you know, we're
And then we found out we're not funny. So you know what?
it was a tough, harsh life lesson to realize we're not that funny. But we all we've been told that we share the same mind at times, and
So I'm sure you guys thought it was hilarious.
yeah,
Well, you know, we've been referred to as the three-headed monster, so I think it just kind of just fits.
Now,
It just fits us.
Do you guys dabble a little bit in your wrestling background while doing this, or is it strictly based off what you're watching?
We pretty much kept it secret that we were involved in the
I'm
wrestling
sorry
business.
for giving it away.
No, we actually just revealed that
Oh.
we're all involved.
We're wrestlers.
Yeah.
I don't know much about wrestling.
You know, with us being
I've heard.
with us goddamn with us being not as funny as we anticipate, we end up padding it out with a lot of bullshit.
Right, yeah, just filling it with
Yeah.
whatever you can talk about.
And one of those things we fill it with are games.
Oh yeah, no, I'm down to do some games on this.
So I have
This podcast is it's going to be a little different than apparently all the other podcasts we're doing. We never had 3 guests on before at the same time either.
Oh,
so
really?
this is number 1.
First time ever, and I forgot it. I was looking for that first time ever.
Yeah, that's the first time.
Ladies and gentlemen, first time ever. What is it? 3 people on a podcast
At the same time.
at the same time.
It's because we've had 3 people here, like
much every
while we were doing a podcast. You know, there's people chilling in the
God damn,
right.
dude. We only have 2 mics.
I know. We don't have 2 mics. I'm sorry.
got 3.
This is like we got 3 mics now.
I mean, here's the thing. Like, honestly, we could sit here and we can talk wrestling. We could talk wrestling. Mike Pavia's been around forever. I have some awful stories that I could share. But
I also have funny memories with both of you that, like, I don't know if either of you realized until recently when I told you them, like, when we seen each other, but, like, JC, I used to go to the RF video stand in the Attleboro Mall. What is that place? Emerald Square Mall.
Yep.
When I was a kid, and I used to hang out with that long-haired dude all the time and watch those things. I met you probably a dozen times.
yeah,
Not even realizing it. You know what I mean?
that was the best job that I ever had. I made
I would
$6
imagine.
an hour working at the Emerald Square Mall at the RF.
But this was probably like what 1999 though.
This
right?
was 2000, the end of 2000 to the end of 2001.
Right.
And I guess I could briefly
$6 an hour ain't bad, dog.
$6 an hour. The long-haired gentleman that you're referring to is my manager, Jesus.
Hey, Zeus.
This is my dog.
I should also mention that Jesus was Asian, just to kind of make it a little more.
He had an Oriental look to him. I wasn't sure what he
Yeah,
was.
he is Asian. I actually called him G-Fresh, based off of the character in Orgasmo.
Yeah.
Oh, homeboy kicking my
It's in the
ass.
Over there, Orgasmo.
Nice.
So, my question is, did Rob Feinstein deliver tapes to you monthly?
He delivered a lot to me.
Really?
You mean by a lot like T-shirts and knickknacks.
It was funny when he first applied for the job. He said, "How old are you?" And JC said 16. He said, "I'm going to pretend you said 18."
Were you guys already friends then? Like the groupie and no?
No, come to find out, Mike Pavia and I have crossed paths in life for many years. We didn't realize it until much later.
It's
Ships in the night.
Ships in the night.
Well, I thought my first time I met JC was also at the RF video
thing,
stand at the mall.
We could have been standing side by side at that
probably
place
happened.
with JC there.
Wait, were you the fucking assholes wanting to wear that goddamn ECW heavyweight title replica belt?
Oh my god, I'm sure you guys got that all the time,
dude. Best job I ever had. Right across from a CVS.
Also,
read the magazines.
With wrestling fans, probably not the easiest.
You know what? It was still pretty cool. I met so many different people. I'll never forget that. Eric Koulas, Mass Transit.
Yep.
Showed up with his dad. This was during.
So he just went everywhere with his dad. Then. Is that the deal?
His equally famous father at this point.
Yeah.
And this was during the lawsuit.
The trial.
This was during the trial.
Which Jose Perez is involved in.
Right.
I didn't know.
The connections that are there because Dave Padula, Tiny the Terrible.
Right, yeah.
Like, in New England wrestling,
just
it's
people you wouldn't assume to be involved in this ECW lawsuit.
And Dave Padula, if you are listening to this is not to stir things, because I know you're very emotional and have very strong feelings when it comes to mass transit. But they showed up, and I'm not going to call them Marxx, but they bought 3 Best of New Jack tapes.
After the fact.
Just hoping that the match was going to be on there?
And a New Jack action figure from the ECW catalog. And they were waiting for me to, mark out. Because, I knew who they were.
Right.
But I would never give them the satisfaction of saying.
I'm going to be honest. If that happened to me and I was Eric Koulas, I would be selling New Jack merchandise everywhere I went.
T-shirt, right?
I would be wearing that exact bloody shirt every time I worked.
I was actually there that night.
When it happened.
At the mass transit incident, yes. And it was crazy, man. It was crazy. It took them 40 minutes to get him out of the ring. Legit.
This is all the stuff that you don't hear about, right?
To be fair, though, his entrance was also 40 minutes.
Get into the ring.
And the story goes is that had things gone differently, the face of New England wrestling would have been drastically different, because Livewire Dave Padula was the man that was supposed to be going to that show with Tiny the Terrible.
Right.
He would have gotten booked for the show, most likely.
He would have bled all over
and
the place.
there's
he was of age, so it would have been okay.
There's definitely reason to believe that because of that incident and because of what happened, New England really got blackballed from ECW and opportunities for those guys.
That was already after they did the Armory shows and stuff like
that.
Well,
they were just about to announce that they were going to go on pay-per-view. And because of that incident...
That's what lost them the PPV.
Yeah.
And then they eventually got on pay-per-view, but that was only with Request TV, not Viewers Choice, the main pay-per-view provider.
Right. Which then I think Viewers Choice became, On Demand and then all that.
And I couldn't, because I remember I couldn't get the first pay-per-view because Viewers Choice was the only one in this area.
Right.
But for wrestlers in New England too, I can tell you Mad Dog Matt Storm, Draven, those are 2 guys that were really on the fast track to probably getting opportunities in ECW.
Trooper Gilmore, he was
he was
going to be Trooper
show.
Dudley.
Right.
I'm going by what he said. He was going to get a tie-dye hat.
Same shtick.
But because of that incident, and because of what happened, New England got a bad reputation, and that really kind of put the kibosh on it. So
for many years.
Right, and then fast forward to 2000, and I'm sitting there at RF Video, and this guy's buying fucking shirts and action figures and videos.
VHS tapes.
The white sleeves.
There's probably about 40 of them in that room right over there.
And they were waiting for me to say something. I'm cashing them out.
Yeah.
Really, I'm really pumping up my chest right now. Really
were they
trying
expecting a discount, or
they were expecting me to mark out and being like, "Oh my god, mass transit! Oh my god!" Because gives me his credit card, Eric Koulas. Wait, what?
Yeah.
Rhode Island Public Transportation. What the hell?
You think
RIPTA?
Thank you, Mikey.
You think that's why he was buying the New Jack merch to be like, hey?
I think there was to jog my memory, but also at the time when I spoke to my manager about this after, who then spoke to Feinstein about it, there was a lot of like, do you think he was trying to like see if we would say something about the case? Anything that could potentially entrap them for promoting the New Jack incident and to help them in their case.
Well, the fact that they were out buying tons of, I'm assuming, I mean, a couple of VHS tapes, a couple T-shirts or whatever, $80, $100.
The tapes
Roughly,
I get,
right? Like,
but an action figure just.
Right? Yeah.
Hold on, I have the receipt in my pocket.
Pull it out.
I've kept it for 16 years for this day.
I'm sure that's not going to help their case. You know, like New Jack's dangerous. I hate that guy. Right. Let me go out and buy all of his merchandise.
The story that can be told to this day is that had his father not been there, things might not have gone down the same way either. Where they'd be like, he'd be like, "Oh, shit happens," and he lost like how many gallons of blood, but he had a lot of gallons to give.
That was gonna say there was plenty more blood to give.
But yeah, that was our video. That was amazing. It was great. I got to hang out with and this was when it was 2000. So how old were we, Mike?
I was 10 years old.
18.
All right, so
17, 18?
17, 18, working at this job, hanging out with Bill Alfonso, hanging out with Tommy Dreamer and,
right.
and
I was going to say,
RVD.
did you do the Tommy Dreamer sign-in,
Yep.
the Fonzie sign-in, the Road Dogg, all that stuff?
I did all that shit.
I did a bunch of that also where I went and because I was filming shows and all that jive then, I filmed those autograph signings.
Really?
Right, so I have like hours worth of autograph signings.
Wow,
on
you
tape
probably got like
somewhere.
footage of me just walking around.
Yeah, just hanging around a Road Dogg, getting free sneakers from the sneaker place across from where the place was and all that. I remember all that. I was there all day with you guys.
You probably remember him. He was the little kid in the mask.
Yeah, if you remember the little kid in the mask.
Oh yeah.
This was pre-training number one.
Right.
Pre-training, pre-mask.
And this is where I met a lot of guys too. Where of course I first thought I met Mike Pavia and things like that. Losing that job, losing RF Video was probably one of my darker days.
Oh man, I remember the first time I went to that mall and that thing was gone.
So
I was pissed.
Tell that story.
All right, not to really. I mean, whatever. We're just talking. We're shooting the shit.
We're just kind of diving in a little.
Tim Kilgore was hanging out with me at the Emerald Square Mall, and we're sitting there, and it's what I would normally do on my shift is go get an Orange Julius, hang out, very much of the time. I let the gals over at Piercing Pagoda know that I was, I was heading out,
Grab me one of those. Oh yeah, thank you. French wine, thank you.
And so Tim and I left, and we were walking by, and I look up. And I'm on the first floor, and I look up to the third floor, and I swear to God that I see my district manager, the guy that's in charge of all the New England kiosks at all the malls. And I'm like, that's weird, but this dude lives in Philly. He works out of the office.
I was talking into the beer like it was a microphone for a second. I was like, what happened?
I'm gonna eventually try to drink this mic. So
I'm like, no, there's no way that's him. Like, I don't know what's going on. So I get my Orange Julius. I'm hanging out with Kilgore or whatever else. And, like, he leaves. And I'm like, all right, I got to lock up for the night. And one of the security guards that worked there was Elements of Suicide, Cinna.
Yep.
His girlfriend at the time was working security. And she would give me a ride home afterwards. So I lock up. I put the padlocks on the thingamajig, and the kiosk, and I forgot exactly, and I go out front to wait for her. Probably about 10 minutes later, she pulls up like she's in the fucking Dukes of Hazzard, and she's like on the walkie-talkie, like, somebody's breaking into the pro wrestling shop. Quick, let's go!
Get in. There's no time to explain.
There's no time to wait.
She slid over the hood. And
I've dreamed of days like those.
yeah. And both of us run in like I'm now working for the security office at Emerald Square Mall.
What are you going to do, JC?
She's like, where did you get that gun? Yeah. Like, it's my right to bear arms.
Second Amendment, bitch, what's up?
And we run in, and it's my district manager with a pair of bolt cutters and 3 RF Video thugs, and they are packing up in giant tubs all the shit from the kiosk.
Okay.
And I'm like, Sydney, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
He turns around, he goes, huh, oh, JC.
It scared me.
Well, they don't want us here anymore. And I'm like, huh? He goes, yeah, we got to be out by the end of tonight. Like, why didn't you just tell me you were here?
Right, some information between, exchange of information. Right, yeah.
And he's like, with the bolt cutters in his hand, like, it's okay, we got it. And
without even telling you that you would have come in for your next shift and it would have been gone.
You would have been there the next morning and everything is gone,
Well, correct. And so I said, he goes, don't worry, your check's in the mail. In the mail.
Also a very of the time.
I call...
To the kids that don't know, the mail is that stuff that gets dropped off in front of your house.
Unfortunately, with Rob Feinstein, the mail was M-A-L-E.
Yeah. I read that whole transcript between him and that fake little kid, man. That was wild.
LOL.
That was before what's his name? Chris Hansen stuff. Yeah.
Why don't you come in here for a minute and have a seat?
Yeah, you guys have a sit down. You want some lemonade and some cookies?
Some Ring of Honor tapes?
How do you feel about RF video?
So
I'm pretty sure Rob Feinstein was there to sell that kid old WCW VHS tapes. Legitimately.
He was there to shoot a terrible shoot interview.
Right, yeah, with that. Awful. I'm sorry.
So bad.
So I called G-Fresh, and I was like, homie, you just got played. And he's like, homie, don't play that!
Homie.
And
I love that guy. He was the best.
And he goes, what the fuck? I was going to come to work in the morning. So I'm going to reveal something right now.
Oh.
Never revealed. At the time, I probably, conservatively, probably had about 30 to 40 RF videotapes in my car that I had borrowed.
Right, yeah.
And was planning on bringing back.
Eventually, right?
Also,
when you guys would have a tape there, it wasn't just one copy of that tape. There was usually multiple copies of the best of whoever. It was like 2 or 3 up there.
Right.
So, one missing is not that big. If
Right.
you can go home and watch it.
In 30 to 40 tapes missing.
Right.
It's not that big of a deal. I was going to. I let other friends borrow them and everything else. And there may have, for some reason, also been maybe like 10 to 15 shirts that were also...
That you borrowed to wear.
To
wear.
And I was going to return.
Because when you were working, your shirts ripped or...
After you washed them, of course, you were going to return them.
I really needed my Taz number 13 shirt.
Oh, man, I have that orange-ass shirt somewhere. That same damn shirt.
And so I couldn't return them back because, like thieves in the night, our video showed up,
swooped in,
and took everything
in 4 totes. Like
4 totes, bolt cutters,
and 4 totes. They wiped you guys out.
At least you had the good taste to steal in the daytime.
Yeah, not in the middle of the night when nobody was around.
I'm just sad I couldn't borrow the replica title and bring it back. But so yeah, they closed up overnight. They were gone. They closed most of the kiosks at that point, and I eventually sold the other stuff to the Elements of Suicide, and honest ended up buying them because you couldn't pass up a deal like I was given.
You're like, yo, man, I got this crate.
So I feel like the statute of limitations has passed. Fuck you, Rob Feinstein. You cannot go after me for that.
So what did they ever tell you what the deal was? Like, they just weren't making money in the kiosks? Or?
So I had to find out later from my friends in security and my inside job there that basically they were dicking around on the lease. The lease was up. They wanted to pay, I think regular rates were like $800 a month for the kiosk.
Right.
And they wanted to cut
high.
Especially for 2000.
Yeah.
But they wanted, they counter offered, which they didn't, that's not a thing. It was like, this is what the lease is.
They're telling them all,
and they were
like, 6. What do you
they were like, we'll do it for 5. And they were like, no, it's 8. And so they decided, okay, we'll renew the lease next week. And then they didn't. They showed up with bolt cutters. So that was the end of our video at the Emerald Square Mall in Attleboro, which they also called the Boston location, which was just in fucking North Attleboro.
Right, which was just totally not Boston.
I just looked it up on my inflation calculator. In 2000, $800 would equal out to be $1,672.05.
Damn, and that is far too much for a mall kiosk.
Wow.
So yeah, that's our video.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how now you've mentioned a couple times that that's how you thought you guys met first. But how did you meet previous to that?
Okay, so
can I just preface? Me and Mikey were watching a YouTube video last year.
Okay.
And tell the story from there about.
Well, we had Mike Foster on recently, and we were watching old Yankee matches.
Yep.
And me in the front row as a little kid, wiling out. I had no idea I was there. I seen myself with my fat friend. I was like, "This is amazing."
Well, all of a sudden, Yankee Pro just started uploading all of these
Right, all
shows
that
from
stuff,
99, 2000.
thanks, Ryan Drew.
Yeah, man. So a lot of my old stuff is on there.
Is now making its way to the.
Oh
the
man,
interwebs.
and it's awful.
Right.
And it's bad. And one of the videos that's up there is from Bob's Bar and Grill in Bridgewater. That was the South Coast Championship Wrestling ran there, which was separate from Yankee Pro Wrestling.
Right.
And you know. I won't want to toot my own horn here, but I got to work both shows.
During the days where there was
The brand
split
split.
brands, right?
Yeah.
Ricard and Jamie were both booking each thing, and they were both like, "We gotta have that show up, dog."
And that was way before Jamie was had
previous
the
to
Jamie.
Jamie having the-
Jamie was still training. Like we were training together, man. And we gave him the name Candido because he looked like Sean Candido, Chris Candido.
Previous to being bald, Jamie used to have very short blonde hair.
Yep.
Sunny days were far ahead for him.
Yeah, sure.
It was Sunny Goodspeed, though.
Yeah, that was the sunny days he had.
So we're watching the video, and it's me I don't even know what the match was.
It was Highlight Kid versus Mike Pavia.
No, my Highlight Kid was outside the ring with you wearing a bucket hat.
Was it me versus
Probably
I won?
1999, 2000, right? Yeah.
Yep, very much so.
Amanda Storm?
Amanda Storm.
No, wasn't that kid that her Fandango was friends with?
No, that was a different time. You're thinking of Damian Houston, R.I.P. Anyways, it doesn't really matter.
Maybe Don Monsanto?
Okay. Breaker?
Sure, it might have been Vertebreaker, but it doesn't really matter. So we're watching the match, and also on the outside of the ring is a young, svelte J.C. Marxx.
We were talking, we're like, who's that outside choking you on the ropes? And we're looking, we're like, that's JC.
And little did we know that we had met each other at that point.
We had worked together, and also then come to find out even later than that, we had crossed paths at the 1994 Royal Rumble, like ships in the night, wearing my Man Made in the USA Lex Luger T-shirt. And
by cross paths at the Rumble, like you actually seen each other, bumped into each other.
Yeah, like I walked by,
of, like,
and
Mike
I
in the
just
background. Touch his face.
Just touch his face.
Just so.
This may or may not have happened.
Like you guys ever watched the movie Face Off with Nicolas Cage? Yeah, so I walked
John
up to
Travolta.
him, and I just and I went,
And you just knew right there.
yeah. I just to the viewers, to the listeners, I just beautifully grazed my fingers over his face.
22 years
Yeah.
from now, we're gonna do a podcast together.
Exactly.
We're gonna be best of friends.
We're gonna be the best of friends.
But yeah, so Mikey and I, we gravitate toward one another.
And Mike, I met you as, again, you were wrestling. I'm a couple years younger than you are.
Yep.
So I was on the other side of the barricade as a fan, watching you and Mercedes was
Yep.
the manager, and I got some video of you cutting promos
Oh,
in
man.
the locker rooms.
Was it a PSA?
It was not a PSA.
Oh, all right.
I
They
wish
had
I
to.
had
Yankee
that.
had to have every once in a while. We had to do these PSAs.
Uncle
Weren't
Joe.
you Michael PSA Hayes?
I was really lucky in that time to be
Yeah.
a part of Yankee Pro Wrestling. As
A guy your size had no business.
% man, it was just I just got there right at the right time where that was kind of be like, okay, we'll let this skinny fuck wrestle. And it was I have to thank Joe Eugenio.
Yeah.
I have to thank Silvano Souza. I have to thank Brickhouse fucking Baker for helping me. For helping me, taking me aside, and actually not just kind of brushing me aside. And I want to help this kid,
Right.
and it was great.
You know, Mike Pavia has been in this business about 16, 17 years now.
Yeah.
He got gear in 2014.
That's a fact. That's a fact. I was a Hot Topic kid for a while.
Well, dude, that time in Yankee, everybody was a hot topic.
Everybody
kid.
was.
You, the Hot Brothers. I remember the Hot
The Hot-
Brothers, AJ and DJ Hot. You don't remember the Hot
I
Brothers?
do, but they were the hot
Oh, they had a different name, right?
the Hot Boys.
The Hot Boys.
With a Z.
With a Z, yes.
You had to,
I just assumed they were brothers because they had the same last name.
even
Hot.
Emerald Fusion had the Z eventually, brother.
Don't get me started on that.
Fusion.
Don't get me
Like,
started on
dude,
Fusion.
Everybody wore like the mesh shirts and baggy trip pants. Like, that
Always
was
the
just
trip
wrestling
pants.
gear. And,
What's that,
in like 1990 Triple-Licious.
I remember after I had left Yankee, I was working with Bobby Cruz and his UWF group, short-lived. But he had brought in...
When he ran at the PAL?
No, it was at, like Joker's in New Bedford.
Also went to those shows.
Okay, so I was on. I was
also there. Dr. Heresy, all those guys.
All those guys. Yeah. He had brought in like Jack Victory, had Steve Carino and all those shows.
April Hunters.
Yeah, Slick.
Yeah.
So they had brought in to work me and Mercedes, Talia Madison, who turned out to be fucking what's her name? No, the other one, Velvet Sky.
One of those other fucking beautiful people, but the one that fucking
in 2000 I was 10 years old, so why don't you leave me alone?
That she dated and they were together. And I ended up working him. Her boyfriend.
Jason Blade?
No. What was his name?
That was Mikey's girlfriend that he dated.
Well, it was also Blade's girlfriend, if we want to be honest.
My point is,
podcast took a weird turn for a second.
my point is that we had the same flame pants,
right?
And we had to wrestle each other, and we had the same fucking pants on.
It wasn't Trent Acid.
No, who was the guy that she dated very early on? He was short.
Oh, Jason Blade.
No.
I had a similar situation to that at a show. Moondog Maximus was backstage.
Yes.
And I see him and I'm like, man, I bet we're very far apart on the card because we're both wearing jean shorts. Card gets put up. Who am I working but Moondog Maximus in a battle of the jean shorts?
The winner gets to keep the jorts on.
I have a lot of fun back then. It was crazy.
You talk about post Yankee Pro. Why don't you tell the story about you leaving and everything that happened there, Mikey? Why don't you tell the world what happened?
Rubbing jelly on the window. That doesn't look anything like blood. That looks like strawberry jelly, 100%. Wrestlers versus Zombies, strawberry jelly.
Name must be jelly because jam don't shake like that.
They're killing Facade. Shane Douglas is locking him out.
That's not a young Raven?
That's great. So that's perfect. We can just skip that, that whole thing.
No. Let's get into your Yankee Pro story. Your last day.
So it was at a Bank Street Armory show. Great. They had a big cage match show lined up.
Was it I'm trying to think of, was it the one Dawn Marie and Simon Diamond were on?
It could have possibly been that.
Okay.
Possibly. So we're the opening match. I'm defending the lightweight championship.
Okay.
And it was supposed to be like a 4-man match. It ended up being like a fucking 8-man clusterfuck. Like, holy shit. But previous to that, I had been given a bunch of tickets. I don't know who it was. Somebody gave me, I have a bunch of these tickets. I was like, fucking great. So I gave them to all my family. You guys gotta fucking come out.
Gave them
away. I was like, shit, man, I got a shit ton of tickets. Apparently, I was not supposed to do that.
Right.
They wanted us to sell them. I could keep like half, whatever the fuck the deal was.
Right.
Whatever the deal was, I did not know that. So we have the match. I successfully defend my title.
Yep.
The end of the night comes along, shaking everybody's hand, and Joe Eugenio says, Mike Pavia, where's my fucking money? And I said,
flat out.
Yep. I was like, I don't have your money. I didn't sell any fucking tickets. He goes, that's bullshit. I go, I didn't sell any tickets. I gave away tickets. I have no money for you.
Right.
He goes, get the fuck out of here, Mike Pavia. Holy shit. So Mercedes, being the fucking time bomb that she is,
right.
the very reasonable person that she is, loses her shit. Fuck you, Joe Eugenio. Fuck you. So at this point, I walk over to Silvano Souza, who was booking at the time, and I shook his hand. I said, thank you, Silvano, for everything. And Joe, that just set Joe off even more. Like, oh, thank fucking Souza. Don't thank Joe Eugenio. So that caused a rift between Joe and Silvano there. So I'm leaving. I'm like, all right, this is great. Mercedes is fucking throwing chairs all over the place.
Right,
fuck, I'm like, we need to get the fuck out of here. Like, this is not good. Like, I'm never going to be able to wrestle anywhere again. So I get in my car.
There's one place you can go to wrestle.
That's right. And it's now been my home. So I get in my car. I'm ready to go. And out comes Big Daddy Bravo.
Yes.
Big 400.
400 fucking pound. Big Daddy Kahuna. That's right. He was still Kahuna. And he comes up to my car and tries to open my door. And it's fucking locked.
Right.
So he's trying to open it. And I'm like, what the fuck's going on here? So I unlock it.
And you're like, what's he doing?
Yep.
Like,
So I unlock it and I get out. I'm like, what's like? You coming to fucking like beat me up? Like what the fuck?
Pavia.
Like holy shit! Joe wants his belt back, which I didn't have. Portuguese Stallion had it.
It's probably his belt. Like,
Yep.
He physically owned it.
Yep. So Joe Eugenio had sent out
Kahuna.
Big Daddy fucking Kahuna to rough me up to get the belt back.
He could have sent anyone in the locker room, a referee, a manager, a girl.
Came out to get
yes.
It should be pointed out that that's why Lumberjake now hangs out with Mike Pavia. He's actually his bodyguard.
Of course.
Yeah. Just in case things get out of hand again like that.
And just so everyone knows, I am just as hot-headed and unrational as Mercedes was.
just as pretty too. Just as pretty.
Just as pretty, yes.
And my tits are way bigger.
Oh man!
Womp, womp, womp.
Wow! Holy
The
shit!
fat kid I used to hang out with had such a crush on Mercedes. Like
Everybody did.
Yeah,
Everybody did.
Yo, dude, I wasn't that fat. You gotta stop saying.
not you, the other fat guy.
And I will admit, and if there are any aspiring wrestlers happening to be listening to this podcast, don't bring your fucking girlfriend into the business.
Awful idea.
Don't fucking do it. Holy shit.
And that was a PSA.
Oh, finally, Mike Pavia PSA Live.
Mike PSA Hayes coming again.
So maybe, and I probably already know this, but I've forgotten because it's been so long ago. How did Jason Blade leave Yankee?
He just happened to be lumped in with us and had nothing to do with guilty by association.
They weren't
together.
They weren't together. It wasn't Mike Pavia and Blade
Until after we left.
because then Chris Venom brokered the deal and brought Mike Pavia and Jason Blade and Mercedes to the pro wrestling shop to introduce them to me for what I thought was the first time.
Right.
Even though Al and Jason Blade had already wrestled for Backyard NCW. So we already knew each other. And he goes, oh, this is Mike Pavia and his girlfriend Katie. And basically brought them together for the first time.
Did you guys ever call her Mercedes?
That's genius, actually.
Continue.
I just want to say, months or years after the fact, Mike left the building.
Right.
Didn't know what happened. Silvano Souza told him at a House of Brick show years later.
Semi-recently.
Silvano Souza said that because of his treatment of Mike Pavia, because Mikey was always so respectful to him, that inspired Silvano to sell his portion
Of
Yankee
which
Pro.
became top rope and all that.
Yes.
So that got Joe the full reign, and then he was able to go ahead and sell that.
Yeah.
To move on to do it.
Changing history,
How
man.
big is your family? How many free tickets did you give away? Damn.
I'd say
Just like him, his family's very small.
I was gonna say he must have been real over that night.
son of a bitch.
Everyone left after the first match.
So that's and the rest is history. Bringing Blade and I together as a tag team, which would also lead to Blade and Mercedes getting together.
Yeah, they teamed together for a while, too, I believe. Mike Pavia was in the other bed.
They worked a program.
That was that was probably one of the most awkward moments in my life at that point.
Were you still teaming at the time?
Yes, yes, we were.
Tag team champions!
Did you guys ride separately?
I knew the answer. I just wanted to ask the question.
Mikey,
Yes.
Is that are you trying to do?
I know. I genuinely I want to say something, but
Say it, man.
I mean, did you ever think about one time just kind of tagging yourself in during and just really tag teaming?
Like coming in with the hot tag?
Well, I was
Bop, 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 bop.
I was really hoping to get with Blade's sister at the time, so just to try and dig it in there.
Like, by the way.
Yeah.
And that's why you should keep family and relatives out of wrestling and girlfriends.
100%. And then Katie and I had gotten back together after a very long 18-hour road trip down to Georgia for NWA Wildside, and we got back together on the ride back with Jason Blade in the back seat.
Just listening to you guys talk it out.
Was that the same road trip where you hit a dead deer?
That story is
I hit an
infamous.
alive deer, and it got up and looked at my car and then
What?
ran into the woods.
That's creepy.
I wasn't going too fast, but it looked me right in my goddamn eyes.
That was
and
actually
then
that was
ran
actually
into the
me
woods.
ran over that night.
Was that you?
My deer was dead already in the road when we hit it.
Well, Jason Blade.
Well, when Jason Blade hit it.
Right. So we're going over how we met all you guys.
Yeah.
Lumberjake, CWA? Was that what it was?
Yeah, I was doing security at CWA. I brought my quote-unquote gear.
Yeah.
It was out of necessity that I became Lumberjake. If they gave me that gimmick, that if they let me work that show, I would have done a homeless gimmick. Because they wanted me to be a hillbilly at the company that I first started, and I didn't want to be a hillbilly. And I was thinking, I'm like, what gimmick can I do where I don't need to buy gear?
Right.
And it's like, homeless guy or lumberjack.
Lumberjake works.
Yeah, and then there was already like 3 homeless guys running around.
Right.
So.
And I've wrestled, I think, all 3 of them, probably.
Yeah, and that's just the guys with the gimmicks. There's also a
actual
number of
physical
homeless
homeless
men
men.
wrestling.
And we were on that show?
Yeah, I believe you guys were on that show. If I think it's going to be.
Probably wrestled the Minutemen.
I was going to say, I'm going to take a risk and say you guys worked the Minutemen.
Right, which could have been like one of the 5 times that happened there.
Yeah, that sounds about right. But like, I don't know if you guys worked Bay State at all for AG.
I did once or twice.
Okay.
Yeah, but that was when he had already he had taken a break from the grapple.
Okay. So I started in Bay State, which is probably the lowest of the low of as far as companies go.
That's not
I don't know.
true.
I was gonna say I've seen some far worse shows. Than
I've
those.
been around for a very long time. I'm sure I could find some promotions that are.
Like I said, man, I went to Instastranium Smashdown. Like, you know what I mean? There's just no way that was worse than those Bay State shows.
We quite literally had
better, I mean.
we had no trainer when we first when
Yeah.
I got there. The head trainers were Judge Chambers and Alex Creed.
Right.
And
he's mad, that Hatter.
that Mad Hatter.
And the Judge Chambers is still a goddamn judge. Like he's
Yeah.
just judging people.
I love
years later. I love Judge Chambers.
I was watching an old PLW show, and he was just insane at the time.
Oof.
And he, while he was training with the Damned, Mad Dog and Draven, he also did one NCW show back in 2001, and we made him Wink McClure. And
McClure.
he came out to the David Letterman, late show theme song, and throughout the entire night, he did like his own version of a top 10 list while ring announcing. And
Awesome.
Honestly, the main reason why is that because he had such bad back knee that we wanted him to wear a sports jacket, so that way,
Cover it up.
I didn't want to see it.
The man can lift some heavy weights. That's all I know.
He's strong as an ox.
It's insane.
And like it's not that it was a problem with Judge Chambers being the head trainer or whatever, but like he was also going to get better. It's not like he was looking, and all the other people there were literally the worst of what you're going to find. We had Jazz Fitness, who was the JC's favorite, Jazz Fitness, who was an overweight fitness enthusiast.
Yes, okay.
There was Ronnie Angle, the Special Olympic alternate.
The Canadian guy.
Matt Loudon, he's still around.
He's still out. Hey, what's up, Matt?
He's in
I think he had a different name. Didn't he have a different name then?
He was
Lemurex?
Matt Lemurix at the time now,
Okay, yeah.
and then Matt Loudon.
Canadian Juggalo.
Yeah, Canadian Juggalo.
Ooh, it's like whoop, hey.
We actually booked him last year, 2 years ago, and he said, should I cover up my Irish tattoo in order to protect the Canadians thing? I said, if I were you, if you were looking to get less heat, because he was a babyface, I'd cover up that Juggalo tattoo.
Cover up that Hatchet Man dog. We got to get him Canadian Juggalo versus what's that kid's name from up in New Hampshire? There's like a kid who does he looks like Macho Man. He wears very similar Macho Man gear. Also a Juggalo. Tim.
Are we talking about Troy? Yes,
Garbo.
yes.
American Juggalo.
I want to give Troy Garbo a Matthew McConaughey gimmick because he showed up in his All-American. All right. Yeah, he was.
UAW, that's what it
Each
is.
show, he would show up in a different Matthew McConaughey character. Like one show, he's like the Lincoln lawyer, and it's just like
The guy from
and Magic Mike.
Well, you got to go with the Wolf of Wall Street, right?
All right. Oh yeah. Sorry.
But we got to do that. Say that. So who else was on those cards? I'm trying to remember. Was Tony Clash on those shows?
I think Tony Clash
Was
was
like a
on there.
manager, right, or something?
Yes, and there was
the original. Maybe not the original bailiff, but he was a bailiff.
He was a
I
bailiff.
remember him being a bailiff.
He might have been the original bailiff because then we had this kid Phil was a bailiff for a while.
Yep.
Christ, who else was working there? DJ Crimson was there. Jason Frost
Jay
was
Frost in
there.
the house.
And
I think this might be his first Matt Cash shout out. What up, Jay Frost? I know he listens.
I only got to have one show for Bay State, one match rather. It was against Ashworth as Doink.
You only had one?
Only one because they didn't run often.
Right.
And I actually got a booking for UFO. Anthony Green actually got me the booking. He was there. He was the booker at 16, 15 years old.
Oh, wait a minute.
Believe it or not, yeah.
No, you can talk all about that. He was like 12.
Yeah, he was running shows.
Running shows at 12.
And
we got the invite there once, but apparently the guy who put in the good word for us no-showed that show. So when we showed up, they're like, no, you can't be in our oversized battle royal.
They're like, yo, Chris Cruz already backed out. That means you guys can't wrestle today either. It's like, AG, you want, like, you literally, when we walked in, you asked for a free T-shirt of ours. Like, you can't throw us in the Battle Royal. What the hell, man?
it was an island of misfit toys, but they also had some sort of weird quality control they liked to think there was.
Right.
But, like...
But they used me a bunch of times, but just not without him over there.
AG got me a booking at UFO Wrestling, and the promoters told me, you're not ready to be in a match. You should give your booking to Alex Creed.
Whoa.
And I didn't listen.
You should put that on a T-shirt.
Mike Pavia, Anthony Green guilted Mike Pavia into coming in as the trainer there. And I am the only person
Reluctantly smiling and nodding in the background.
Because there's only one person he wants to admit to training, and that's me. That's the only person. And AG, he'll take a little bit of credit for it, but not in the ring.
Right.
But the other guys there were just...
Did you bang AG? Is that what he just said to me?
He banged me.
Okay.
He did bang AG until Jason Blade swooped in. And
I banged AG until he turned 18, and then that was done.
You're like, oh man, he got tall and thin.
He's a little long in the tooth now.
Yeah.
You know? But
I still want that free T-shirt. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
No matter how much trash we talk about you on our Maccast.
which T-shirt do you want of AG's?
I want one with his pretty face on it. The gap tooth.
They don't have any of those.
I know. That's the problem.
I want the Toy Story one. Hand it over.
Oh, okay.
I'll take that one.
You can steal one from his bag. People do that sometimes.
Monster Mac has an AG Vito 8x10 in the bag he keeps his cape in, so it looks like it's an AG Vito Halloween costume. It's pretty great.
I heard people also piss in AG's bag.
Did that really happen? Yeah.
Let me take you on a little story.
All right, I'm in.
Sicily.
The fog's rolling in.
We were in South Boston. It was either my first show that I worked a match on, or I was a lumberjack in a lumberjack match at the end of the night.
Which is just fitting.
How apropos. If it was my first match, let me tell you this match. It was me and Crazy Chainsaw Bastard
CCB
versus Damian Black and Tank the Tank. That's a match.
That is a match for sure.
And we were the hot open. And at that show, AG was still a referee. And of all people, Caleb Seltzer, who was not booked.
Yes.
But thought it'd be funny to take a piss in that fucking poor kid's gear bag.
Now, did he piss in a bottle, then put it in his gear bag?
No. Backstage, whipped out his dick, pissed
just
in
a
his
stream
bag.
right into his bag?
Yeah, right inside, right into his bag.
Dude.
Now, I feel like that he thought that would have been funnier than it was. But I feel like a lot of guys liked AG even then.
Like they didn't. I wouldn't say they liked him per se, but he was like the annoying little brother. It's like this
Tolerated. We tolerated
yes.
AG.
It's one thing.
Who in this room did he call and talk to for hours? Hands in the air.
Oh
no hand up for you. He never called you and just talked your ear off.
I refuse to give him my number.
Yo, he used to call Trainee number 1, and then Trainee would hand me the phone, and he would talk to me for like an hour about independent pro wrestling, even though I have no idea about anything about independent pro wrestling. So I'd just be like, yeah? Oh, that guy? Oh, yeah.
The fact that me and Mikey would take his phone calls are the reason that he still likes us despite being a superstar now.
Being on top of the game.
Yeah. He's the indie star, indie darling, but he still hangs out with the shitbags.
So I sold him a stolen Robbie Ellis jacket.
Oh, we just bombshell here on the Maccast.
You borrowed it and it was in your car like those JC VHS tapes.
No.
Holy shit, I didn't even know this.
I didn't steal the jacket. I just sold it.
Oh, you sold him a stolen
Eric
jacket.
Dillon stole the jacket.
Wow. It all comes together.
Oh my god.
For a very low Monster Mac price, I hooked him up. Now he owes me a T-shirt. That's the only point I'm trying to make. A better T-shirt than the one he gave me.
Holy
Oh,
shit.
good AC/DC bullshit. Know what I mean?
No, nobody wants the AG T-shirt.
Yeah, the ET one.
See, I don't know what the ET one is. That one's a little.
It's a
strange.
thumbs up. It's all good. ET put the thumbs. Whatever.
Yeah,
Jesus
I
Christ.
get it. Doesn't mean I have to like it. But no, Eric Dillon acquired a Robbie Ellis jacket at some point in the game. For some reason, gave it to Mac over here and put it in his gear bag. That way he wouldn't look suspicious. I don't know. But we just had it for like years in our closet.
I just want to also point out, was it the Baker Boys that stole Eric Dillon's gear and then wore it at NCW?
Oh, that's the best.
The Baker Boys dressed up in both of Eric Dillon's tights and they wrestled.
Did they have wings on it?
I think those were actually stolen from Bay State Championship Wrestling. Bring that full circle.
So apparently, pro wrestling, don't bring your girlfriends or don't leave your shit around for anybody to take.
You could bring padlocks for your gear bags, but I have bolt cutters that I always keep on me now, just in case.
You gotta swoop away in the middle of the night.
Yeah, he got them from the RF video kiosk.
Say Rob Feinstein let you borrow his bolt cutters.
We're getting so heavy with these topics. Let's lighten the mood. I've got a game for us.
Yes. Let's get into some games.
I have a trivia quiz I made myself, so I will not be participating.
Okay.
But let me tell you what's going to go down. In our last couple of podcasts, we did a couple games. I gave them the title of the movie, and they had to give me which wrestler starred in it.
Okay.
This game will involve, I'm going to give the name of the wrestler. You have to name
a movie that they were in?
No. Ooh. You have to name their interview segment.
Okay.
Okay? So I'm going to... So, as an example, if I said Roddy Piper, you would say...
Piper's Pit, right, yeah.
Okay, and that's going to be the game.
Gotcha. Okay. Hold on, let's get him out of the bathroom before we get into this.
I feel like it's going to be even footing. There's going to be some... There's not going to be any Seinfeld trivia, though, is what you're telling me? Because I thought we were going Seinfeld trivia, and I've been watching nonstop on Hulu for days. What superhero can be seen in every episode of Seinfeld?
Yeah, that's an easy one. Come on, man.
Come on, man. My Seinfeld trivia quiz was not as prepared as I was hoping.
As a great oil painting
of Kramer smoking a cigar.
Yeah.
What was the name of Kramer's pet rooster?
Little Jerry, of course.
Yes.
Little Jerry Seinfeld.
Because you're going to name the wrestlers. Let's see. I thought I heard you over my pissing. So you're going to name the wrestlers, and we're going to name the interview segments or what their segment
Yes, I say Roddy Piper. You say...
Piper's Pit.
Okay, we got this.
We're good. All right.
That's a point for me?
Yes, that's a point
It's going to be Maccast versus
Three-Way
Theater in this trivia quiz.
Mike and JC.
Right, part of the two-way theater.
Two-way theater.
You guys are getting it in on the two-way theater.
And I'm going to ask you guys, in order to ring in, I want you to say the name of your show. I want you
the
guys
Monster
to
Mac
say
Show.
No,
Maccast. It's the name of the podcast.
The Maccast, and you guys say Three-Way Theater. Okay?
Thank you for telling me what show we're on.
Yeah.
It was just a plug. So...
Threewaytheater.com.
Yeah, we got that. We got the URL. I'm going to bring up... We do.
I know.
You called it a URL. Yeah. Everybody's just like, what does that even mean?
I'm with the times.
Hey guys, did you guys know the WWW stood for World Wide Web? I doubt that anybody else does.
We're on Angelfire.
Yeah, watch us on angelfire.com/coliseum/4293/index.html.
All right, we're at geocities.com/index.
The original NCW backyard promotion, our website was definitely on the Coliseum for GeoCities.
Yeah, awesome.
Mike Pavia once sold Best of Mike Pavia VHSs on his website back in 2000, 2001. And
this guy right here too, man. Mossmac.cjb.net.
Well, two people ordered them, and he never sent them out.
We got their money, dog, and that's all it matters.
Did they send you like money orders? How did you get?
We might have sent cash through the mail, you know.
PayPal wasn't even
Yeah, no.
That's how me and Trainee actually met. He bought one of my tapes.
So,
Legit.
And then you got the address and you just showed up at his house one day.
We're gonna do some training, kid. And
he was like, can I get a VHS that actually sounds like the quality matches up to the stuff?
He told me a VHS tape and the audio and the video didn't match up. Drove me insane.
I'm gonna hot take. I still to this day love watching VHS. There's something about the quality of it or the inequality, if you will, and I still love it. Whether it's like when the tracking doesn't add up and you're skipping a little bit. There's just something comforting about it.
I don't know, man. I feel like I was a late adapter to DVDs. Like I just finally finished buying like all of Kevin Smith's DVDs. Like I'm a huge Kevin Smith fan. I had his VHSs forever. I just bought like Mallrats like a couple.
I was gonna say
ago.
you didn't buy Cop Out, did you?
Somebody bought me Cop Out. An ex-lady friend bought me Cop Out.
Now she's an ex-lady friend because of that.
Well, let's get this party started,
All right.
Jake.
All right, let's start this one off. It's gonna start off a little easy, and then we're gonna work our way up. All right.
All right. So, you hold the mic. Give me the mic.
Yeah, you guys get ready for this.
Collection.
We're all gonna lean in together.
Hold on, let's all just huddle into a big circle. We're gonna be yelling the answers into each other's faces.
Please, no shouting out answers.
So we gotta go name the name of that.
If you get the answer.
Right.
Okay, and wait till I call on you.
Shut up. Wrong one again. Wrong one again.
Yes.
Yeah, no interrupting. Gotcha.
Okay.
But what if I know it?
You wait, you son of a
Wait till I
gun.
finish. I want this to be equal footing for everyone. You don't bring it in jeopardy when he's answering the question.
Somebody could.
Yeah, but they don't let him ring in though. You have to hit that button the whole
True.
time.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna start off.
Hold it.
Jerry Lawler.
King's Court. Three-way theater. King's Court.
I'm gonna give that to Matt Kess because you yelled at the answer.
Hold on. Matt Cast.
You're supposed to be on our side. No, wait.
King's Court.
Hey, I told you not to yell at the answer.
It's so hard, right?
Dean Ambrose.
Three-way theater.
They yelled it up first. What do you want from me?
Ambrose's Asylum.
Correct. That's 2 for the Mattcast.
That's good. I didn't know it.
Carlito.
Matt Cast.
Theater.
I'm gonna give Mattcast.
Carlito's Caribbean Cool Extravaganza. It's not what it's called.
Three-way theater. Carlito's Cabana.
Damn it!
You didn't have to say three-way.
He was
Three-way theater.
Listen,
Not the name of his-
listen. I'm just going by the rules here.
Point from us, Mac.
No.
Tap
Point
that-
for three-way
Tap
theater.
that thing again.
Shawn Michaels.
Three-way theater.
Mattcast.
Heartbreak Hotel.
Correct.
Nice.
Suck
I
it.
didn't know the answer. I just knew you knew.
Just say three-way theater every time.
Fine. You have to do it. You're closer.
Do we get a point if they get it wrong?
Only if you.
You have a chance to steal.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. So okay.
Are you
Or you
texting-
can say dare, and if they say double dare, you have to do a physical challenge.
Physical challenge.
Are you Facebooking Dick Lane at the same time? What is that bubble? Is that Dick Lane in that bubble?
No, that's the 3-headed monster.
That's
Oh, that's literally a three-headed monster.
whoa. Well then.
I thought you were like getting some questions from Dick Lane or something.
No.
He's from the future. Here he has all the answers.
He knows what's going on. He already listened to this podcast, the whole thing.
Matt Stryker.
Mattcast.
Mattcast.
You know that one?
No.
Three-way theater.
Mike Pavia.
Striker's Classroom.
Correct.
I could have just guessed that one.
Who came up with that trivia question, though?
No, we actually have no idea. Jake has been hiding these for
Yeah.
months.
Very secretive.
Yeah, wait, hold on. Before you continue, Anthony Green played this game. You did a primer with him.
Yes, sir.
How good did he do? A Johnny Primer. How good?
Johnny Primer with him, you say?
I believe.
that dude.
I want to say he missed 5 out of them.
Okay.
Altogether.
So far, we haven't missed any. We're just
Back and forth.
Don't worry, you will miss some. They
Yeah.
get obscure.
I'm sure.
The Miz.
Miss TV. Back
Three-way
at
theater.
They yelled out the answer. Point goes to the 3-way.
Damn it.
I came to play.
So what was the answer? What was the correct answer?
Miz TV.
I just wanted to get it out there, you know.
Brutus Beefcake.
Mattcast.
Mattcast.
Barbershop.
Correct.
Perfect.
Good job, dude.
Edge.
Mattcast.
3-way theater.
It's it's the rated R.
The rated R round table.
Incorrect.
Mattcast.
Mattcast.
It's
Don't put that shit in my
yeah, sorry. It's no clue. 0%.
It's the Cutting Edge.
I like rated R round table.
Yeah.
Sounds very nice.
I don't know.
Uh-oh.
I got it.
Well, when we listen to this, we'll know.
Adorable Adrian Adonis.
Ah, damn it.
The Flower Shop.
Correct.
I'm sorry. I was thinking something else.
Paul Bearer.
Mackcast.
Funeral home.
Incorrect.
Oh no.
The Funeral Parlor.
Nice. Very good.
Chris
taking the lead.
Chris Jericho.
Mackcast.
Mackcast.
It's so easy to say Mackcast in three-way.
It really is.
On that.
Highlight reel.
I'm starting on what I hear first, not but what ends first.
Right. Highlight reel.
But if we say you don't really hear it.
What do we say? TWT.
Yeah, you guys got the soft. We got the hard.
Yeah.
TWT. Can we do that?
TWT, fine.
TWT.
Can I just go? Eh? Can I just?
But then it's hard to distinguish who made the ant noise first. You know?
TWT and Mackcast, okay? Christian.
Mackcast.
Mackcast?
Peep show.
Correct.
Bang bang.
Jake Roberts.
Mackcast.
Mackcast?
Snake pit.
Correct.
They have a nice system going on here.
Mackcast.
Don't do it. Don't you do it, you son of a bitch.
He didn't start the question yet.
I didn't say the
All right.
question. MVP. Three-way.
No, they totally got that one.
I figured you told me to just yell it out.
Right in his face.
You told me to just yell it out. You know it.
It's the MV Pit.
No. Can I try to guess?
Nope, already got
Wait, I didn't say that was my final answer. I didn't say that was my final answer.
Is it the VIP?
Yes.
VIP lounge?
Damn it! Damn it!
Get that dude.
I kind of remember it. I was gonna say the most valuable. I was gonna say the Players Club or something like that initially.
That would have been good.
Jesse Ventura.
Mackcast.
Mackcast.
Yo, dude, that's
Minnesota. I don't know what that. I don't know. I got nothing. Governor's Ball.
The Body Shop.
Correct.
Nice. Yes.
That's good.
Rene Dupree.
Nobody yelled.
Jay,
Nobody.
we've talked about this previously, before we even decided.
We should know this one. Mackcast.
Mackcast?
Yeah, the French tickler.
Incorrect.
That cafe in Paris.
I got Rene de Cafe.
Renee's Cafe.
It's Cafe de...
Damn it! Damn it!
But I'm going to give it to Three-Way Theater.
All right, I'm okay
right.
with that one.
All
That was
right.
close enough. Well, I'm down with it.
All right, cool.
Buddy Rogers. Deafening silence. I'm going to...
I'm thinking Mackcast. I'm gonna say Nature Walk.
Incorrect.
Nature walk. That's a good guess.
Yeah, I can respect that.
The Natural Corner.
Roger's Rules of Order.
We're on the same team, bro.
It was Rogers' Corner. Oh, man.
If only they worked together on that.
Yeah, if you guys would have been a team.
Another nature boy, Ric Flair.
Three-way Theater.
Ah, damn it.
Three-Way Theater.
Mackcast.
Flair for the gold.
Damn it.
Correct. We are back to being tied up.
Yeah.
8-8.
I don't like to lose.
It's okay. We don't mind losing. It happens all the time.
Rio Rogers. You may think, who's Rio
I
Rogers?
wish I had a cricket
Rio
sound effect.
Rio Rogers was
Afraid of crickets.
Bruce Pritchard playing a Dusty Rhodes character in 1993. He made very rare appearances. I'll show you a video after we're done.
I got nothing. I'm not even gonna buzz in.
Rio's Round Table.
The Mackcast. No, that's the name of it.
It was
Mackcast,
it
no?
was Rio's Roundup. Wow.
Roundup. Wow.
Adrian Street.
Three-way Theater.
Three-Way Theater.
Gorgeous Adrian's Street.
Incorrect.
Fucker. I'm pretty sure I know.
Gorgeous Lane.
Exotic Adrian Street.
Mother.
He's not fucking gorgeous.
Give me the goddamn fucking point.
No.
Don't give him the point.
We're still tied at 8 apiece. Terry Funk.
TWT.
Three-Way Theater.
Let's work together. Let's work together. I think you're right. Double Cross Ranch.
Incorrect.
Funk University. Mackcast. We don't have to yell in after they already got it wrong. Yeah.
It was Funk's Grill.
But that's the terrible name. Was he making burgers and stuff? Because that's the only way I go. If he's grilling up some burgers.
Some mozzies.
Yeah. You don't want a matzah?
We'll ring salads.
Missy Hyatt.
Mattcast.
TWT.
Missy's Corner.
Incorrect.
I thought for sure that was it.
It's Missy's locker room.
Wrong. It was Missy's Manor.
Damn it!
Those never aired on TV.
They did not. Colt Cabana.
Mattcast.
Mattcast.
Out of wrestling? I don't know.
Incorrect.
Scotty Goldman's Goldstein's Rumble.
Wait, he didn't say Scotty Goldman, though, so I would be very upset if there was a Scotty Goldman.
It's not. It's Colt
Okay.
Cabana in Ring of Honor.
Three-way theater. Cabana's Cabana.
Incorrect.
Colts Cabana.
Wrong. It was Good Times, Great Memories.
Cabana's Cabana would be awesome.
Yeah. Even Colts Cabana is better than Good Times and Bad Memories or whatever the hell.
Pat Patterson.
I think are we all afraid to make it?
Partisan radio, dead air is never.
Yeah. This is
It was Le Brunch de Pat.
the brunch de Pat.
I knew that.
He would talk shit in French to English-speaking wrestlers.
Gotcha. Pissed, right?
This is the final,
And we're
So we're tied. Oh shit. Okay.
and I ended with one that I feel is plausible for you guys. So this is going to be the tiebreaker. Who's going to win? Dude Love. TWT.
No. Oh. The Love Shack.
Yep.
Three-way theater.
Big winners.
Did you know it was the Love Shack?
Yeah, we did.
All right.
We did. He's a huge McWilliams.
Kind of suspicious that the guy who came up with the whole thing. Is
I knew that was
going to
be a
point
point of contention.
I do got to give it to Jake though. He was covering that phone the whole time.
Yes, I was not letting anyone.
It was pretty close, Mac. You can't throw barbs too much. You know what I mean? Just because we.
Hey, we're not throwing me around.
Hey, leave Bob the ref out of this.
Hey, what?
So that I gotta say, guys, pretty good. I gotta give it to you. That was. Maybe we're gonna come on. Three-way theater.
Yep.
It's gonna have a trivia
Trevor's
quiz.
gonna have a bunch of
All right.
our
all about
crazy-haired, bearded friend is gonna have a bunch of questions.
I got the peep show on Christian, so I'm pretty proud of myself.
Yeah, that's good, dude. I didn't think you knew
Now,
that.
guy, I feel like in the past, listening to the Mattcast, I feel like you guys are very good interviewers, and I feel like we've kind of just gone off. We've just been talking, hanging out, and talking. You know what I mean?
Right, but
do you have any
I also like that
questions?
aspect, though.
Do you have any? Did you come up with anything for us or for one of us? Or are we just
I
gonna?
guess.
The Mattcast is all about shooting the shit.
I mean, I love
That's all
that.
we really
That's
do.
that's basically what we do on a three-way
We
theater.
prepare for the Mattcast with French wine, pretty much.
Perfect.
Whoever
Much
needs to buy it.
appreciated too, by the way. It was delicious.
No, come on, man. I didn't know if you guys liked Yingling French wine light,
it.
but
My
we're
favorite.
some fans. And maybe after we can get some other French wine
Yeah,
for our
another-
friend Michael over here who doesn't enjoy the beers. Yeah, I was gonna say Colonel
Oh,
de Beers.
did you know? Okay.
That when it snows.
In AWA, Colonel de Beers.
Yes.
He was a racist gimmick and all that stuff. He was from South Africa rather.
Uh-huh.
And then he was managed by Diamond Dallas Page. Diamond Dallas Page, it was supposed to be a take on the De Beers Company.
The beers.
Oh my! I can't. There's nothing to say to follow that up. We've reached the end of Wrestlers vs. Zombies that's been on.
I've been watching bits and pieces of it. I'm really looking forward to diving into that.
Anytime
It's not very good. I just want to
perfect.
We have watched a lot of not very good movies over the last few
Featuring
months.
wrestlers.
Featuring wrestlers. If we
What was the worst of the worst have you seen?
okay, oh man, we've been. Are we gonna?
I was gonna pass through.
On 3, we will name our worst movie.
On 3? 1.
Mikey still doesn't agree.
I understand, but I still
I feel like that adds to the
right.
element.
All right. So
I'm
on
gonna give Mike his own microphone.
so 1, 2, 3.
Body slam. Whoa.
Oh, wait a minute! I'm talking to the beer like it's a microphone again. Damn it! Again, I talked into the beer like it was a mic.
So you guys still feel Body Slam is the worst
Yeah.
movie?
Body slammed us. Which one?
Body slam is Roddy Piper and
Benedict.
Okay.
it's the big one.
And
It was
what,
our first.
What did you name?
I named Countdown the Dolph Ziggler movie.
Oh man,
where he's a road cop.
All right.
And my problem with Countdown really has to do with the trailer, which made it seem like the WWE portion was going to be the third act of this movie. And they swerved us, basically.
Did you guys see the Rob Van Dam Batista movie
No.
called
Ja Rule? Is Ja Rule in
Wrong
that?
Side of Town? Ja Rule is in that, yes.
So, but let me ask you, are they wrestlers in that movie?
No, they're not.
So right now we are
I didn't know. I thought you guys were just talking about movies
So,
based off wrestling.
right now what Three-Way Theater does is that we review movies about wrestling or featuring wrestlers. So if the lead character is a wrestler, then that's okay. That's
I
fine.
believe Van Dam's a cop or something
Okay.
to that nature.
Like,
Has
the
a
entire
lovely
point-
daughter who gets kidnapped. I don't know.
The best thing about that movie is that Van Damme is 100% the lead character, but on the cover of the DVD, Batista,
Of course.
is just like over the whole DVD case. Van Damme's like in a little corner over
So
there.
it's very much like WWE.
Right, yeah,
Van Damme does the bulk of the work, but the guy that looks the best gets the most promotion.
And we may have to eventually delve down doing movies that just star wrestlers, but we're trying to keep it within the wheelhouse of being some kind of wrestling has to be involved.
Now, what about pornography?
That's the Three-Way Theater.
That's okay, so they're not going to.
Although we'll tell you right now, if you watch one Grunt the wrestling movie, there are some surprising tits in that movie, and then Slammed was
Surprising tits?
We did not see it coming.
Okay, it's wow. Gotcha.
Someone flashed during a Dick Murdoch match. Did anyone expect
In the
it?
crowd?
No, she was a manager and she was distracting people.
Okay, I gotcha.
Very Marlena.
Filled with tits.
I'm looking through my DVD collection and I see one right here. Did you guys see WrestleManiac?
WrestleMania.
Starring Rey Mysterio
No.
Senior.
I thought you were going to say
He,
Russell Madness.
He likes to rip your face off. Get this.
That is the Airbud.
Rey Mysterio, the original, likes
Senior.
to rip your face off and slam it on the wall, so that way when he fights his opponents, it feels like people are watching him.
All the people that he's killed are watching over him kill somebody else.
We did the vote for our Halloween episode, and WrestleManiac was on the docket, but we have been completely outvoted. The number one vote was Pro Wrestlers versus Zombies. The second was the best of Chris James.
Oof, that's horrifying.
You're gonna spend like $35 for that Wrestling Pro versus Zombies.
We got the best of Chris James. It was a blank DVD.
How much did that run you?
He was giving them out. At the,
He sells his T-shirts for far too much money. So
he was giving out the DVDs at the clinic. It was the free clinic.
Pick your pain. Which body part do you want? Pick it.
you guys want to feel pain because it's probably your head.
It's probably it's more than likely going to be your eyes if you watch the match.
Chris James has asked to do the podcast like a bazillion times, and I always told him like if you can get Scott Levesque to trick us into thinking that we're going to Scott Levesque's house to do just a Scott Levesque podcast, and you're there, like I'm not gonna put my equipment away and go home.
Have you guys never done anything with Scott Levesque?
Yeah, we've done like the first probably like 4 or 5 episodes. He's on a lot of episodes.
Okay, all
At
right.
the beginning of the Matt cast, he's in our logo. I don't know if you.
I have seen him in the
he's
logo. I'd love to hear a Scott Levesque podcast now.
We got it. Oh, we're updating.
Like
I say because there's 3 parts to ours.
We did one with Scott Levesque where he was. We did like 3 episodes in a row with him.
and what? So how long ago was that?
Probably like 3 years maybe.
3 years.
So pre NCW.
Well, yeah. I don't want him to just go on the podcast and talk about
talk about
NCW. I mean, he can. I mean, he has a lot of great things.
Scott
NCW.
Levesque, number 50.
No. He might have been here while. I mean, he was here when we recorded it because this is not before it happened. This already happened.
Right.
When we first started doing the Maccast, the beautiful Mac mansion that you guys are sitting in right now was in construction. They were building it, and that took a really long time from the ground up. So Scott Levesque lent his lovely log cabin for us to do the Maccast in.
He actually has a log cabin right next to mine.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You guys are neighbors.
Yeah.
We have to. We're gonna all get together.
Makes it very awkward because we've been feuding in NCW.
Right. So you guys are like bringing your trash out.
Yeah,
you can see each other
very
from a distance, shaking your
passive-aggressive.
head, like, just son of a-
He
I
heard.
thought maybe he would like hire you to fix like the holes in his walls that he angrily punches when he gets mad. You know what I mean? Because you're into lumber.
Yeah,
You're into lumber. It's not something you're into, isn't it?
I'm slightly involved.
Slightly involved.
He takes my knee out. I steal his newspaper in the morning. It's a thing we have. I loved your guys' pop during a couple of podcasts ago for the mention of Scott Levesque winning the Big City Rumble.
Yeah, damn right. Take that, Dick Lane, or whoever he eliminated.
It was
last.
Dick Lane, yeah.
Suck it, Dick Lane.
Suck it, Dick.
Yeah, suck it, Dick.
I mean, I'm so proud we made Dick Lane one of the biggest baby faces in our company, and now you get to hear little kids chanting, Dick, Dick, Dick.
And they're into it, too.
They
It's
love
fun to chant.
Dick.
The We Love Dick chants are getting louder by the day. It might be because those girls are getting a little older and they're...
Right.
I mean, the We Love Dick chants only used to happen in the locker room.
Right, because Dick Lane's the best.
We all love Dick.
Right, who doesn't love Dick?
He's one fine, handsome young man, man. Just I got it.
Young man, he's old.
Is he? He might be older than both of us.
Oh, dude, I
He's
must
a
have
ti-
met, like the time traveling.
He went to high school with John Thornhill, and they did backyard wrestling in John Thornhill's backyard.
Yeah.
Big houses. They drew better than most indie promotions in New England because they would always run shows on half days, and before school got out, they went to everybody, and they were like, wrestling at Thornhill's! And they would get like 200 to 300 people
In the backyard.
in the backyard for their hardcore matches, their backyard matches. No ring, just fucking flipping and flying.
I gotta find some of that footage.
I cannot say any of that footage exists. I live with John,
Yeah.
and I've asked him about it before, but I don't know if they ever actually taped them. It was like one of those like underground things
Wow.
that.
See, like even when I was doing that kind of jive, like you always gotta throw a camera up.
You know who
At least
does?
just a hard camera at least.
You know who does have a lot of backyard footage? Mike Pavia.
Really now? See, because you were talking about the backyard NCW stuff. Was that with a ring, or were you guys on grass?
So, Backyard NCW started in 1997 after I went to an NEWA, the New England Wrestling Alliance show. It was at my high school. I was a freshman in high school. And Pierre the Mountie, Pierre, Oprah Uma Oprah. He had wrestled as his real name was Roy Raymond, and he had wrestled on the very first Raw is War earlier that week against Ahmed Johnson, and he got squashed against Ahmed. And I was in the crowd. I was 14 years old, and I was heckling the shit out of him. He jumped over the railing and tried to come at me, and I was like shocked and scared and aroused, and like slightly. And I was only going there because Danny Boy O'Callahan, infamously known for breaking his neck on a Don Juan DeSanto moonsault because he rolled out instead of rolling in. Here's a good training fact: roll in, don't roll out. And as he rolled out, Don Juan's entire lower half of his body just crushed his head and broke his neck. Danny was a senior at Davies High School where the show was, and so we went to go support him. And after getting chased by the Mountie, the fake Mountie,
after Mountie,
exactly. After the show, we were like, "Oh man, we could do this." Like all my friends were like, "We could do this. We could do what they do." Like they're not that good. And so that weekend, we went and got a couple of plywood boards, grabbed some sheets from the spare bedroom, some flowered sheets. We got 4 chairs, and we put them as our turnbuckle posts. And we had a Super Mario Brothers True trash can that we used as a hardcore gimmicked weapon, and we just did backyard wrestling all day. After we did that, like a month later, we were like, let's go to Home Depot. So we went to Home Depot, we bought some small 4x4 posts, and we got bungee cord, and I borrowed some church. I acquired some gym mats from our local church hall.
Any left, Jake, but you can have this one. No, you can have this one, dude. I've had plenty. Yeah, I got a whole other 12er in the fridge for tonight, later tonight. For a French wine.
We had I borrowed the gym mats from the church hall, and we put together a makeshift ring. I thought it was pretty legit, all things considered.
Yeah.
But it was like an 8x8 ring.
Small, super small, right?
Super small. And
to the corners, right?
and that-
the corner.
and that's
I had a tramper ring, so I
okay.
knew.
And that's where I first met Tripleicious.
Yes. You know that he got his name from a WWE video game? I'm
I
sure
was
you knew
fucking
that.
there playing it with him. Yes, I remember.
I've been telling people all the time since that podcast. I was like, Tripleicious.
You guys are probably eating mayonnaise sandwiches.
Whoa.
You
Why
heard
do you gotta
that-
be
you
a
heard that
dick
on the
about that?
Mackcast. Don't lie, dude. You weren't there.
Tripleicious loves the movies. Tripleicious loves the movie Spice World.
Wait a minute.
Just
wait a
because
minute, wait a minute. Who doesn't love the movie Spice World? First off,
I saw it in theaters.
Meatloaf is in that movie, and Meatloaf is also in Fight Club. So
Meatloaf,
suck it if you don't like that.
Best
movie.
best line of Spice World. Meatloaf goes, "I'd do anything for you girls, but I won't do that."
Bam.
Triple-ish is, there were many times where Trip and our friend JR would spend...
My God.
My God! We would spend countless nights sleeping over my house, but there would be it'd be 11 o'clock, and Trip would be like, all right, guys, we'll be back in like an hour and a half. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, your sister's watching Spice Girls, nigga. I'm going to go watch that right now.
You just dropped an N-bomb.
No, Triple-licious did.
Yeah, which, I mean, that's for sure.
That was a verbatim.
For sure not the first time an N-bomb has been dropped to the Maccast. I just want to...
I did not mean to say that.
Right. Yeah, Davey Cash was on here, and if anything other than the N-bomb was said, I'm kind of surprised.
We had to set an F-word limit on Davey Cash's.
No, it was
like,
Chris Pyro's.
was it Pyro? Oh, because he was trash, yeah. He's the wrestling Superman. That's what he taught me on that Maccast.
He's like, yo, why would I kick out of just a super kick when I can get super kicked and take a triple-double power bomb and then kick out and then super kick you, Superman?
Yeah, so so we did backyard wrestling for about a year, and then we started going to Power League wrestling shows, and I just wanted to help out, so we started doing ring crew for them, and that was kind of how we wormed our way into independent professional wrestling.
Just kind of slithered in.
Yeah.
Now, Mike, he mentioned that you had a ton of backyard footage.
I think Mikey should tell his story about his first match ever. On a show. His first match ever on a show. Why don't you regale them with the story?
I wouldn't really call it my first match on a show.
Oh, I would call it your first match on a show.
I as well did some backyard wrestling. I had like 3 incarnations of a ring. Like first it was just like pads with a tarp over it,
right.
Posts with ropes you couldn't run, all that
right,
stuff.
Right, yeah.
Then I actually grew to I had some carpenter come in and build me a 12-foot fucking ring. I had padding, I had canvas, I had cable ropes.
Jesus.
You could actually jump off the ropes.
When was this?
I'd say this had to be 98, early 99.
Literally, backyard wrestling is going crazy at this
Yeah.
point. Like, everybody's backyard wrestling.
I don't think it's even been,
Right,
yeah,
not
it's
even the
just
peak
the very
yet,
beginning.
But it's popping off, though.
Best of Backyard Wrestling started getting released on DVD in like 2000. I should know. I sold them at the art.
I was going to say, I had the VHS tapes too.
With Tylene Buck.
Oh, yeah.
Major Guns.
Major Guns, son.
I love the video game. You can throw a weapon from anywhere and it would automatically hit the guy.
Doesn't matter. Sabu can throw a fish at you, dog, and you will get fucked up.
So there were only 2 people in my backyard group. It was myself and Danny Jacks,
Okay.
who would later be Kurt Daniels.
Okay.
So we were friends just because of wrestling, and we would wrestle almost every weekend,
Right.
do full shows, all that good stuff. So Danny was trained in the martial arts, and his sensei, I don't know what you would call him, his trainer,
I'm gonna say
his
sensei,
guy,
his master splinter.
his master said, "Hey, we're doing a exhibition during the intermission of this wrestling show. Do you guys want to be a part of it?" And I have no martial arts training
Right.
whatsoever, so we just had decided to go out there and wrestle. And this is in a Yankee Pro show.
Oh, man.
There's video. And when he says wrestle, they worked, brother.
Yeah.
Dude, we got out there like, oh, now a special martial arts exhibition with Mike Pavia and Danny V, and then we acted like we were gonna do some like martial arts stuff, and then
You
the
guys
first
get into
we
karate
just
things.
fucking and then first thing he did, he threw a kick, I caught him, and I fucking powerbombed that motherfucker.
They did a top rope Hurricane Rana.
Yep.
One of them did a dive.
What?
Crowd's going fucking nuts. You know who wasn't going fucking nuts?
Joe Eugenio?
No, Tatanka.
Oh, man.
This should have gotten me blackballed from
Damn,
wrestling
right,
forever. Like, there's no way I should be wrestling for 17 years
You
at this
guys
point.
snuck onto a show.
Yes, we fucking the big finish is like a fucking frog splash or some shit. He counts his own hands for the 3 on the mat, which is what we did in the
Incredible.
backyard. So holy shit. Standing ovation from the fucking crowd. Tatanka's pissed. Everybody's fucking pissed. we're fucking proud as shit of ourselves, right? Like, holy shit, like that was fucking we're the draw. And then inside baseball, and then so a couple weeks later, we actually get a call. Joe Eugenio says, "Hey, I mean, you guys want to come fucking wrestle? Come and fucking train." And we fucking did. And that's where it fucking started. And man, I kind of regret.
Matches over as that again. Have you?
Yeah, fact. I don't want to say I regret doing that. I just feel like it really could have been bad.
It for sure could have turned out a lot worse.
It could have been bad, but you can't regret it because it sets you on the path for the rest of your career. Yeah. Just like all the monumental stuff that happened in Top Rope, that would have never happened without that original martial arts exhibition.
It would have been even worse if you guys really tried to karate fight each other.
Right. Yeah, right, exactly.
It would have been like that 1995 karate fighter tournament in WWF with the action figures.
What you don't know is
yes.
yes.
That's what it looked like. WMAC Masters.
What you don't realize is Joe called every kid that did karate that day and asked if they wanted to wrestle.
Hey kid, I know you got the moves.
Yeah.
Come on down.
Yeah,
it's impressive, man. That's kind of crazy that's how it all started.
That's how it all started for me.
Like this has been a very informative Mackcast.
Yeah, man.
But pretty funny.
Honestly, it's still not even scratching the surface.
Right. I mean,
between the three of us, there's so many stories. Well, mainly the two of us and Jake. There's so many stories.
2010. What do I know?
But I mean, there's so many things. I mean, again, maybe we'll need to come back sometime.
The landscape of wrestling has changed drastically since you guys have started, since I was a fan and was filming shows, to like how it is now. Like there's a lot less creepy dudes.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. There's
still creepy dudes.
Yeah,
for sure.
One of the things, I mean, here's what I'll just say, because I hate talking about NCW and I don't like talking about it much.
Weird, considering you're the promoter.
I know.
I don't want to put out any flyers, commercials.
That's why I don't draw. Are you kidding me? I don't put any flyers out. I don't, because I don't like talking myself up. It's, NCW started, we just mentioned, I just started in a backyard, and we're going to end in the backyard. I started at 14 years old doing these shows and worming my way into Anthony Rufo and Gino Martino with those group of guys. I
almost got to a fist fight with Gino Martino.
Oh, you are lucky you were still alive.
I know. One of my first matches, in the indie scene, he did it wasn't even had anything to do with me. I was sticking up for this jabroni, like usual. He did a moonsault, and we were in the opening match. He did a second row moonsault for the finish. That led into the finish, and he was yelling, and I just walked over like, "Hey, what are you so mad about? Like, what's the problem here?" And then he started yelling at me, and I was just like, "Yo, dog, I don't care if you're on Stan Lee's Superhumans. Like, you can nail a nail with your forehead, but I'm gonna kick you in the dick."
His dick is also made out of steel.
I had no idea who he was. I was about to headbutt him right in the face.
Oh my God!
It's not been good for you, dude. Yeah, you would. Face would have blew up.
Imagine if Gino just went down, though.
Right, just dropped like a sack of potatoes.
Then you should get on Stan Lee Superhumans ASAP. Those guys, Gino, Matt Storm, these were guys that, for better or for worse, gave me an opportunity to start ring announcing, to start managing, and to help legitimize NCW by Matt Storm and Draven started training that first class of guys back in 2000. Chris Venom, Tim Kilgore, KL Murphy.
Chris Venom just added us on Twitter. I don't know. I'm gonna ask him if he wants to do a podcast.
He would be great at this. Rui was a part of that class. Richard Pacifico, the EOS, Elements of Suicide. These guys were right, very much pre-Kellen. These guys all got that break, and we all started an NCW together to legitimize ourselves. And back in 2000, 2001, we were a joke, and I can admit that we were a joke. Even when we brought in we created these things, like these moments with Emerald Fusion, bringing in Blade, Mercedes, and Pava in for the first time. We were really into the ECW stuff. We were doing the high spots, everything. Bringing in the original main crew, Damian Houston, Johnny Curtis,
Larry Huntley.
Enforcer Huntley.
We had
Johnny Curtis, who's Fandango.
Fandango now. Broadway the Phoenix brothers, Mike and Ken Phoenix, started an NCW after lying to Kowalski in training, and they lied to Kenny. Straight up lied to me. Walked in and said, "Oh, I'm 18." He was not anywhere close to being that old. And that's just what they did to get booked.
No, I'm 18, brother.
But it's crazy to me to think about. This was back in 2001, 2002. And these guys that are now on a national stage,
right?
But we had no respect. NCW had no respect. We were still
just dicking around.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie,
right? Yeah,
and I'm not gonna lie. At 16, 17 years old, I didn't know what I was doing,
right?
And I can look back on those days and say I don't know how we pulled it off,
but you did.
We did, and then we came back. After taking a couple years off, and we were still the Rodney Dangerfield of professional wrestling.
I got you. I see what you did there.
I think we are still the Rodney Dangerfield. I mean, we're getting our respect now, which I'll admit, but it's not like anything. By indie shitbags. The shitbags love NCW. We're the pinnacle for them. But it's we still know that we're kind of tongue-in-cheek. We're kind of a goofy product.
Well, and then that's just what it comes down to, is that we've just been doing it for so long. NCW has now been around for so long that we've weirdly become not like an institution, but we've now they're oh,
yeah, your own niche.
Yeah, NCW, they've been around for years.
Right.
Oh, they do this or that, or these guys went to WWE working for them.
Right.
And that's not entirely true, but it's connect the dots.
I was gonna say, man, because I'm not gonna drop any names specifically, but there are guys that have done your shows who have gone on to do national stuff.
Yeah.
And look back at your shows fondly all the time, in conversations with me online. You know what I mean? They share those funny things where, fuck it, I'm gonna say it. Paul Lombardi and his whole crew wrapped in presents and
right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Dressed in chicken suits and all that stuff. It's stuff that they look back on when he thinks about wrestling. And the fun stuff, it's NCW.
And I think what I want to say is that
No.
You're absolutely we'll name drop all day. But what I was going to say is that this still applies today in 2016, and it was a conversation I had probably about 10 years ago now, in 2006, 2007.
Right.
And it was when people still used Instant Messenger, when these little AIM. All right, so I was still on AIM.
1997.
Yes. No, so I'm on AIM, and it's 2 o'clock in the morning, and Johnny Curtis is working down in Florida at FCW.
Right.
And he's currently injured. He had a groin injury, so he's on the shelf. He can't work shows.
Master Mac pulls his groin 3-4 times a night.
That's a personal problem, Mac. And he was drunk, and he was online, and he was on Messenger, and we had still been AIM buddies from back when he was working in NCW back in 2002.
What was your AIM name, by the way?
I had a couple of different AIM names. My main one was JCMAR3X.
Yeah.
Or that was that was one too. I was also the classic Dong.
No.
Say that again?
I had an alternate screen name that I used to fuck with people called the classic Dong.
You were a troll.
Yeah, before trolls were a thing. You were Mayor McCheese.
Whoa.
Well, I'm not saying you are. I'm saying
He was, man.
Only on the Burning Hammer. I mean,
not on Twitter. Twitter.
No.
Twitter McCheese and Burning Hammer.
They're two different McCheeses.
Two totally different cheeses.
I'm going to start a Twitter handle, Twitter McCheese.
Twitter McCheese.
But Kurt, he messaged me drunk off his ass, and he was just, he was very wistful in the moment, and it was really sweet because, just and this is true again, and I say this for 2016 just as much as it did back then. He goes, is shit pay and lots of miles driven for absolutely nothing. But some of the greatest times I had were in your locker room and just having fun. And I feel like that is something that is lost on indie wrestling. Obviously, everybody wants to make it. Everybody has grand aspirations for what they want to do and where they want to go. But you can't also forget the fact that it's about having fun, and NCW is a great place to learn. And that's been our greatest asset, and that's what's kind of weirdly given us some respect. As much as guys like Doug Summers may hate me now and not like what we become or thinks that I don't care about him, I would have to say that if it wasn't for NCW, he would never have gotten the opportunity to showcase all the talent that he had. So, I mean, I don't know.
it's like we know we can't offer money, obviously. We can't offer shit, but we have a crowd that'll put over whatever the workers are doing. They're into whatever's going on. And we have a locker room where there's no drama, no bullshit.
That's not what I seen in you guys' locker room.
It's changed so much.
We've gotten rid of that drama.
Jake, you're fired.
This is. Do I still have to set up the ring?
Yes, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, that's where I feel like where next year, 2017, is technically 20 years of doing this shit.
Man, that's crazy.
And it blows my mind. Like we just had an NCW show the other night, and the Little Norwood Elks Lodge was packed with these fans that are bringing signs and they believe our characters, right. And it's fucking weird. And Anthony Green name drop. I'll drop him around right now. The best compliment he ever gave me was that he goes, "Oh, you guys don't have wrestling fans at your shows. You have NCW fans at your shows."
I hate Anthony Green.
We all do.
Yeah.
We all do.
Fuck you, Anthony. Fuck you, you piece of shit.
Greeny.
Gap tooth motherfucker.
Oh.
He's going to make the shirt with his face on it with the gap in it.
The word of these MCW guys does not reflect Monster Mack's opinion.
Yes, it does. The Maccast hates fucking Anthony Green.
I want that sweet gap tooth on my brand new T-shirt.
Before we started recording, Monster Mack told me how much he fucking hated Anthony Green.
That was me. That was training.
Sorry.
You don't have to throw him under the
No, that was Mike Pavia wearing your mask.
Oh.
But yeah, I don't know.
A bunch of them laying around.
Nice.
Like 8 more right there.
Yeah, I mean, and, it's just fun. Like, I mean, I don't know how much more we have in us to keep this going, but, like, as long as it's fun and as long as people are responding to it, then...
Why not?
Yeah.
Keep doing it,
Sure.
Although I did get my first Facebook hate last night.
Oh, yeah, he was reading it beforehand, right?
Yeah.
Like, goddamn, Lumberjake, why do you going to be on top, kid?
People hate me.
Why are you going to be on top?
I mean... I've been setting up the ring since 2010 by myself, basically, other than when the Loomis brothers were there. And
what up, Mike shaking his head like, what?
Mike Pavia did a great job with the entranceway.
Oh.
And I don't think it's a case of a quote-unquote promoter being on top, whatever you want to call me, as part of what I do at NCW.
Part of the three-headed monster there.
I am far from a promoter. I am a detriment to NCW, if anything.
Yeah, I can just say this right now. Let's not get anything mixed up here. Lumberjake is not the booker. Mike Pavia is not the booker. Every bad idea that happens falls on my shoulders.
Okay.
It's at the end of the day, suggestions are made by everybody on the roster, from up to the top of the card down to Steve Weiner, who will not shut up with ideas to put the title on him. But
if you listen to the Mattcast, he'll explain to you exactly why.
I know.
You guys should have put the belt on him.
And Steve, while I respect your stance on the situation, I have to respectfully
dog. It was his birthday, JC.
He got to bring his hot mom in the ring and stepmom and sing Journey to her. And I love Steve. And there's reasons for why I do what I do. And indie wrestling's indie wrestling.
Right.
But
Steve got that shot because he won the Big City Rumble for us. And he has no idea how close he was to losing that spot.
The Big City Rumble, yeah.
Because when he got to that show that morning, he was, I don't know what mood he was in,
right?
But he was not in a good mood.
He was not in the normal Steve Weiner.
No, he was not jovial Steve Weiner.
Right.
He was all business Steve Weiner.
Because he knew he was winning. He was getting...
Exactly, he's going over.
He's like, I'm the king of the crop, kids.
And
King of the castle.
King of the castle, my bad.
JC was so much on the verge of taking that away from him. Unapologetically, really.
Yeah. Guys, we're closing in on 2 hours.
All right, no.
Yeah, we didn't want to reach anywhere close to it.
Guys, I think we have to make this a two-parter.
No,
two-parter.
We're not making this.
Are we going to keep going? If you guys want to tell me about something later on,
you guys are going to come on Three-Way Theater,
right? Of course.
And anytime we'd love to just sit and talk,
fun, dude. I enjoyed just sitting down and bullshit.
How far is the travel for that Three-Way Theater?
It depends. It could be Attleboro.
Spoiler alert! We'll just come back here.
Right.
I love this mansion.
I do feel like we've barely scratched the surface with a lot of this stuff, so I'd love to just come back and yeah.
You guys are very welcome to come back, and if you want to come up with a fair quiz,
yeah, you guys got to get your win back.
That we can actually win. You know what I mean?
You know,
that would be like a mutual quiz.
And by fair quiz, he means like Seinfeld and like Bob's Burgers.
Okay,
Bob's Burgers
I love me
trivia.
some Bob's Burgers.
All right.
Anything about Bob's Burgers?
Monster Mac.
And facts about the Monster Mac show. I'll send you some links.
Okay, how many takes did it take Trevor to do the weather report?
Oh my God, who knows? If you watch that raw footage, it's just me screaming at him the whole time. Like, Trevor, you're screwing up on your name. How do you screw up your name? It's real life.
Oh, T-pants.
But do you guys have any last words out there for the Mattcast listeners or three-way fans that are listening?
Check
Who's
out
not a fan of three-ways?
our podcast. Check out our podcast, threewaytheater.com.
Yeah.
Check out our
Not the
NCW
three-way
shows.
theater.
Correct.
We're on iTunes.
We're on iTunes. We're on the old iTunes. We're on Podbean.
Stitcher. Have you guys moseyed to Stitcher
We're not on
yet?
iTunes anymore.
We were. I think we're back. Okay.
Oh, good,
I'm pretty sure we're
good.
back.
Check out the NCW.com.
We're not online anymore.
I almost, for our NCW shows, and follow. I'm Mike Pavia on Twitter.
Also, wait. Okay, you did. Damn it.
Follow, not Mike Pavia on Twitter.
Also, not Mike Pavia.
But not Mike Pavia is actually Mike Pavia, and I Mike Pavia is a parody account.
Oh, that's incredible.
By me.
That's incredible.
I'm the Mike Pavia parody account.
You can add Monster Mac on Facebook, and that's pretty much training number one. So, if you're a lovely lady being hit on, it may or may not be me.
You don't know which one of us is coming to show up, you know?
Monster Mac is the Pepe Le Pew of the wrestling world.
Yeah.
So thanks, guys. I had a lot of fun.
Guys, it was a pleasure. I had a great time. I say very rarely do we get to sit down and kind of just bullshit and I don't know,
have
just
stories to tell. We just want to have some fun.
right. Yeah, I was gonna say it's all about fun, and I'm all about it, guys. Thank you for coming down, Mac. You got anything?
Thanks for listening to episode 51. Can you believe it?
And props again for episode 50, boys.
Listen to
man.
episode
I'm
50,
glad
everyone.
you
It
guys
was
enjoyed
awesome.
that. Yes. And if you didn't listen to it already, you should go back and listen
Go
to that.
back
bad boy.
exactly one episode. Listen to
Because
episode
that
50.
guy, he had some info.
Okay.
It was good though.
It was a great episode. Yeah.
All right, thanks everybody for listening, and thanks for you guys for coming down to the Mac Mansion. I know it was a long drive, really long driveway to get into this bad boy. So,
And this has been three-way. Wait, no. It hasn't.
I'm a player. I'm a player.
I'm a player.
Take it as a musical interlude.
And this has been the Maccast, and thanks for listening, everyone.
I'm out.
And I'm also, I'll stay here. All right, bye.
Amadeus.